Hello and welcome to our GLP-1 series where we discuss a range of topics and issues around GLP-1s with personal trainer Becky Lever. Welcome, Becky.
Hi, Catriona. Good to be back again.
In this session, we're going to look at protecting your mental health and your physical health, both aspects which I think you need to consider before you start on your GLP-1 journey and also while you're in the middle of it, so you're reassessing all the time. So, Becky, please let's start with looking at what we need to think about and consider on the mental health side of taking GLP-1.
Sure. Thank you, Katrina. A number of the topics that we'll touch on today, we've already spoken about in the other sessions that we've had, but pulling things together and looking at this as a journey all through. The core thing is making sure that you're making the right decision to go on the GLP-1 journey and that you yourself have an understanding of your tolerances around food, that you have a relationship with food and you understand how that works, because it is significantly different as you go on that GLP-1 journey, taking the medication. It's also really important that you do this guided by the right practitioner to ensure that we've got somebody there monitoring your progress through the process and also being able to give you advice and guidance as you need to with any of the symptoms, any of the side effects, any of the feelings, thoughts, etc., that you have as you're on these drugs, these diet drugs. Nothing to stop you from taking them at all, as long as you're prescribed them and it's advisable that you can use them. But core around things like this is making sure that you're aware of how you feel, of the symptoms that you're experiencing. If there's anything that feels uncomfortable or that you're not sure about, always reach out and get help. And that's why the practitioner is there to support you. We've talked about things like hair loss. We've talked about things like digestive issues, not wanting to eat food because the receptors have been switched off such that we don't feel hungry and therefore the food noise has disappeared. We've talked about things like our dietary requirements during the journey of taking these GLP-1s. And core around that is your mental health is really important to ensure that you're happy as you go through this journey. It's good to be supported through this. So if you have the ability to talk to people about it, that they can be there as a support network for you, that's really important. And obviously, as we keep saying, go back to the practitioner if there's anything that you're worried about. Something that's been really beneficial to some people that I've worked with and heard about on their GLP-1 journey is actually writing a journal or keeping a diary of your symptoms and how you feel. There's different phases within the process of taking GLP-1s as you go through. The initial phase is like a honeymoon period. You'll have various side effects that you need to get used to. Obviously, nausea is considered as one of the major side effects that happens quite early on in taking these GLP-1s. And as you go through the dosage changes that you will, it's worthwhile noting down, any of the side effects you have. And if you can't control them or if you're very uncomfortable by them, talk to somebody, get some help, get some guidance. It might mean dosages need to be amended, or it just might mean that it's a progression with some support that you can get through that cycle that you're going through. But as you say, to start off with, it's sort of a honeymoon period. Everything feels great. You're losing loads of weight. Everyone, things start changing. Then there's a period of you might hit a plateau, which basically means that you're not losing weight anymore. You're just staying static. And you might be worried about whether that's the drug is still working for you, whether you need to do anything different or change anything. Again, that can be psychologically quite challenging. Things like taking pictures of yourself to see your progress through this can be quite powerful, so that you don't have an issue with potential body dysmorphia where you're still thinking that you're a weight that you were when you started, if you've already started losing weight. If you are noticing that your clothes are getting bigger, it's a consideration to think about the financial investment that you need to make, because obviously that can put stress on us if we need to invest in new clothes because we've lost so much weight that our old clothes don't fit us anymore. And again, things like social engagements with people. If you're used to being very socially engaged around food and going out for dinners or meeting people for brunches, etc., be mindful of the fact if you don't have that interest in food to the same degree, you may not feel you want to go and do those things that you used to, but you might need to find other ways of having that social contact and interaction with people, just to make sure that you continue that support network and that you adjust your routines accordingly to manage your journey that you're going on. And obviously, nutrition is core as part of that, making sure that we have a good, healthy diet, getting all the nutritional vitamins, minerals, etc., into our diet that we need in any normal diet, not just because we're on a GLP-1 journey. We do need to make sure that we capture and eat all of those regular foods, fruits, vegetables, fibre, proteins, fats, healthy fats, etc., and carbohydrates to keep our energy levels up during our journey.
With your experience, I mean, I would imagine that possibly it's easier to, well, I don't know, but I would imagine that it may be easier to deal with the physical side of it because it's something that's presented to you and you need to work it out. But on the mental health side, because of course you don't know how you're going to feel. But one of the things that I'd be interested to know from the people that you train is whether they decide to tell people that they're on it, because that's what I have heard, that people struggle if they don't tell people that they're on a GLP-1, and then obviously they feel that they're coming up with excuses. What's been your experience?
Yeah, so the people that I've trained in the gym, and we've had conversations, because obviously you build rapport with your clients as you're working with them over the number of weeks. We've had discussions about, and there's a mixed bag in my camp of people that I've helped. Some have told their friends, relatives, etc., or a core group of people around them. They've managed well because they've had that support network. I have a couple of ladies that have been very silent in telling their community about this, and they have seen the changes in the social interactions that they have with people because of their natural, loss of appetite, loss of interest in food. And they've also found it quite lonely at times if they've been struggling with some of the side effects, etc. They haven't been able to engage, they haven't had the energy levels to do the things that they previously might have done. So when I've spoken to them in the gym, and we've obviously been training together, it's been more that it's quite a therapy session, if you like, because they know I'm a safe space, we've talked about it, I understand what they're going through. My purpose of training them is obviously to help with the muscle mass maintained in tissue, because we lose that as part of our weight loss. We lose fat and we lose muscle tissue. So lots of people come to personal trainers or start lifting weights and strength training on the basis that they want to maintain that muscle tissue, because it is a significant part of the weight loss. And it's core, if you're on these GLP journeys, to make sure that we maintain as much muscle mass as possible, which is why the nutrition and the exercise is really key. And it's beneficial to your mental health as well. You are part of a community, irrespective of whether you're doing a one-to-one personal training session or you're in the gym training on your own. There are other people around. There's lots of people that are going through this experience at the same time. If you feel isolated or lonely, reach out to your practitioners, reach out to the people that are around you, because there's lots more people to be able to help and guide you through their experiences, which might help to put your mind at ease in terms of what you're experiencing. So I do have a number of conversations with people of different phases and different parts of their process. When they hit a plateau, if they're trying to lose weight, they're worried that lifting weights is stopping them from doing that. It's not necessarily the case. It might be they've just hit a plateau, and therefore they need to have a conversation with their practitioner to understand how long that's likely to last, whether their weight loss will continue, if they need to change their dosage, etc. And that's why it's really important to do this under the guidance of professionals.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's great advice, is to make sure that you're aware that you're getting the right source of support and help, whether it be emotionally or the physical things from the experts.
Absolutely.
Great. Becky, thank you so much for today. Thank
you.
Thank
you, Catriona. Speak to you soon.
Bye.